Greetings, Marsh here, and welcome to episode 103 of my modded Factorio playthrough. Enjoy. Okay, we can pick all that stuff up because we don't need it. And that's kind of the basics to trains. We got a way for trains to go straight and a way for the straight sections to merge with each other. Any specific setups we can just do manually, but this will cover all of the big stuff anyway. So, what's the point of trains? The point of trains is to move stuff. And right now we've moved to trains, but we haven't moved things. And to move things, we're going to need train stations. And there's essentially two types of train stations to build. One for solid products and one for liquid products. So, let's get to that. Let's see, we're probably going to need a lot of space. It's actually kind of cleared already, so let's see. So kind of first thing here is to just place the train down. Let's move the train track a little bit further down. Okay. So let's place this right here. Boom. Click, 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 click. And then when you've placed a rail station, when you place the train in the correct direction, it actually clicks into place in the exact spot it would stop if it was delivering there. So it helps lining things up a little bit. Unfortunately, the squares only go up so far, like 4 squares. So when you have a long train, it no longer has those squares there to kind of tell you how long the train would be, but so there we go. Let's do a loading station first, because it's slightly easier than an unloading station. They are different, besides the direction of the inserters anyway. So we have a choice between using steel chests or wooden chests. And I think I'm going to use wooden ones. But the basic idea is you have 6 spaces for inserters. So a loading station would have 6 inserters, ideally 6 inserters on each side to get maximum output. The less time the train spends in the train station, the more efficient the train station becomes. So you want to have the fastest possible inserter setup that you have available to make the train station go as quickly as possible. But something like this. But do we need steel chests? Now, a train car can only hold 40 squares, 40 stacks of something. But you see, an individual steel chest can actually hold 48. And we have a total of 12 chests. So if you divide this capacity of 40 stacks between 12 chests, you get 3 point something. But let's say 4. So we would only need these 4 squares on each chest in order to hold 1 train's worth of supplies. And you're doing this because you want the train to spend as little time in the station as possible. And if you didn't have these chests, then the train could only get loaded in real time based on what was being produced on a belt. But by having these chests, it's a buffer to allow the factory to fill up the chests before the train got there, because the train actually can get loaded extremely quickly. Much faster than the factory could ever have an output for. So it's really good to have these chests, but if you let them be completely open, then they're going to fill. So that's going to be a lot of resources and electricity and pollution used unnecessarily for a huge buffer that you would never need. So why use steel chests when a wooden chest, if we had wood, which we do not, but I guess there should be some leftovers in here. Now I'm thinking, well, if we're using wood, then maybe we should be building wood chests on the bus. That probably wouldn't be a terrible idea. But let's place these down here. Oops, too fast. Alright, so it kept the setting. And see, even a wooden chest is far bigger than it needs to be. And that's fine. Now, There are an advantage to using steel chests, and it's for byproducts. So it's a little hard to visualize right here, but if we're producing a finished product, we don't want to produce any more than is necessary for the train station to run efficiently. But what happens if it's a train station for a byproduct? Well, we don't want to limit a byproduct. We want to get rid of the byproduct as quickly as possible, even if it means filling up a bunch of steel chests so the factory can keep moving. Whenever the train gets there to pick up the byproducts, it'll get there. But we want to keep the factory going, so you don't always want to do things like this. You want to think about, is this a byproduct or a finished product? But I'm just going to use wooden chests because most of the time it's going to be a finished product. We can just drop the steel chests in as necessary. Since I'm thinking about it, let's build some wooden chests since it's such an easy thing to build with a machine here. Can 1, 2, 3, I think. Well, let's just place this. Because all it takes is the wooden boards, which we already have on the bus, so it'd be really easy to make these. And iron chests, there's really no reason. I mean, iron chests are more iron efficient than steel chests are, I guess. But since they don't really get upgraded at anything, I really want to avoid using them. But, so right here we need, this looks like 6 wood per second. So 3 inserters going in, and it's going to produce 2 chests per second going out. And let's just make a stack for now. And something like that. I hate that flashing from the damaged solar panels. But not much to be done right now. Oh, it's right here. There we go. Let's check it to see if it works. Filling up quickly, but you use a ton of wooden chests, or just a ton of chests in general for a train station, because each car has 12 chests on it. So if you use steel chests, it would actually be a huge amount of steel by the time everything's said and done, especially with Bobs and Angels when you have so many byproducts to deal with, and just lots and lots of train stations. And my choice of doing large trains means an enormous amount of chests. So these wooden ones are cheaper and easier. So we can copy this and just place all these down. Oh, I was like, I don't even have enough. Well, I actually still don't have enough. I thought I would with a stack. Apparently not. I can't do math. Okay. And just lots of inserters, lots of everything, really. And we do need inserters. How many inserters are we making right now? 3 stacks? Let's increase that to 4. I'll just leave that at 168, whatever. Okay, let's make sure we do these directions correct. So this is a loading station, so the inserters go towards the train. Looking good. And also we need to get an inserter into the chest as well. And inserters have their best performance when they are loading into or out of a chest, especially if it's from one chest to another. And a train wagon is a chest. So when we have single inserters, it doesn't make much of a difference. But when you have stack inserters, this becomes much, much faster than it would be otherwise. And the reason is because when you have a belt, if you have a stack inserter, the inserter needs to wait for an opening on the belt before it can place the next item it's holding in its stack. But when it's placing into a chest, there's never anything blocking it as long as the chest has room, so it just drops entire stacks at a time, and it's much faster. So if possible, you always want to place into a chest or out of a chest if you're looking for maximum speed, especially as it relates to a train station. So that's why these chests are kind of here to begin with. Also for the reason of buffers and all that, but doing it correct? Yep, they're all pointing in. Also, I believe the chests all need to be set, because these ones are not, so you don't want to accidentally forget that, and then we'll one train station will just keep sucking up resources for inexplicable reasons. So, okay. So another way to look at it is, which direction are the resources going to be coming from? Well, it's a little hard to describe right now because we haven't planned the base yet, but my general way of doing things is to have the belts coming up through here and then swinging around the train and then going in here. So in other words, it's in line. So it's like the belts are coming straight here, and then through a bunch of magic, they now become a train, and the train's now going straight, and then the train just enters the rail system as it would normally. So as far as balancing, this is something we need to keep in mind, because if we have unbalanced belts, then these train cars are going to be filled in an unbalanced way. And that's fine until one of the train cars gets full, and then output's going to go down because now we're only filling 5 cars at a time instead of 6. Or maybe 3 cars at a time instead of 6. So there's kind of a couple ways of doing it, and my way is to make sure the belts are balanced before they get to the train station. So there's going to be a balancer here. So the output now is going to be considered balanced. And how would we load a train with a balanced set of belts? And how many belts? Well, 6 blue inserters can fully utilize a yellow belt. So something like that. And 1 yellow belt is half of a red belt. So if we do something like this, then it has to turn there. I don't know where that would go. Something like that. So now this 1 red belt turns in those 2 yellows. So we could repeat that again. We have to do it kind of carefully here. One thing we can actually do is put the inserter, or put the splitter right over, because an inserter can actually pick up from an inserter spot. So we can actually do it like that, and then have the output come up here, and then down there. Except we did it in the wrong spot. That's up there, and there. So this will technically work. Which means this one can be spaced like right there. Let's do the same thing for right here. And this works because a splitter will take, at least a red splitter will take the output of 1 red belt and equally split it between 2 yellows. That's pretty straightforward. So assuming that that all of these belts are balanced, at least these red ones, then also the yellow ones will be by association. So let's see how to do it. Well, we can have belts going in like right here. Although just to make it slightly more compact, we can do that. Now there might be a way of doing this more squarely where you don't have belts kind of turning like this, but you know, this seems good enough. So I don't really have a problem with it. And then that's basically our 6 belts going on that side, and that was fully supported by all of these inserters. So it means we can have 6 belts on the other side as well. So something like that. It's looking pretty good. So yeah, that's pretty good. Just with blue inserters, we essentially have 6 red belts of capacity for one train station. So it kind of goes to show you the power of this, especially by having a train this long. But there's some other things we need to put in here, like power poles. And luckily these power poles have a reach of, the electrical reach of 3, so they fit just properly to properly power all these things. You can go across to the other side. I kind of want to bring some power lines in here just to get rid of the flashing. So there we go. We need some lights as well. Now, one thing to consider is that when this factory gets huge, lights are actually going to take a fairly large amount of electricity, so we don't want to do an excessive amount of them. And one way to not have too many of them is to alternate them. So instead of having like one on this side and one on this side, and one on this side and one on this side, and here, that's like a lot of lights. So one thing we can do is alternate the lights left and right. Something like that. And that's going to still give you a good amount of light, but not quite too much. But that actually still might be too many lights. We might want to double alternate it, and we might have to wait till nighttime to see what it looks like. But we can double alternate by just skipping one. Right there. And then right up there. Seems like it would look good. It would work right, and we'd be able to see. But we'll have to wait till nighttime just to make sure. Another thing we can do, it's not immediate, like I can't think immediately what we would need something like this for, but one thing we can do, just to allow the train station to support this, is to hook up every chest with a circuit network. And it doesn't cost any more resources because the robots automatically place wires down without using any. So it's no skin off our backs to wire this up. The only wires we waste are the wires we're using right now. The robots will do it automatically. Let's connect to that side as well. So now anything that connects to these wires is going to get the full capacity of all of the chest contents anyway. And we can actually take that a step further by hooking that up with the train station itself. So not only can the train station use the contents, but we can also read the train's contents itself as well and send those on the circuit network if necessary. So there's some other supporting things we can do here. First, let's extend these belts, because this is a minimum part of the train station where belts are going to have to come in from somewhere and then get split, because regardless of how many belts come in, the train is going to need, or the train station is going to need 6 equal belts to load properly. Something like that. But we don't need these, those are extra. So it looks a little weird, but if we place something here, then that belt moves. So that's the minimum space necessary. That's all the time we have for today. Part 2 of designing a train station will be the next episode. See you then.